What's up, Drop Pod listeners? You can check out new episodes of the Drop Podcast every Tuesday and Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find all of our content on YouTube at the Drop Golf Podcast and on our socials. That's Instagram and Twitter at the Drop_pod. No matter how you consume us, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Follow and listen along.
This episode is brought to you by George Wall Ford. George Wall Ford in Red Bank, New Jersey is family owned and operated, proudly serving New Jersey residents with superior customer service since 1960. Rye, share your story about your experience there.
Mike, I went on a tangent in one of our episodes previously about it, but I can't say enough good things about George Wall Ford. I needed a new car. I had an old. I loved the brand that I had. I loved, it was an SUV, but had 165,000 miles on it. It was just time, So I hopped on over to George Wall Ford. I saw our guy Jerry, and Jerry and his team were awesome. I mean, from stem to stern, they're there, they're helping, they're knowledgeable. They have so many cars on the lot that you can go in and say, hey, I want a sunroof, a navigation. I want this kind of rims on it. I want this kind of this, that, and the other thing. There's a great chance that they have that car with all your specs, the color, all that thing. Me, I didn't particularly care. I was like, hey, I want to be high up in the car, right? I need an SUV. I'm a big guy. I got a dog. I got golf clubs. I got beach chairs in the summer. I need something that's a little more rugged, a little more. Again, I like to be higher in my car. And I went and saw Jerry. He pointed me in the right direction. And again, it's awesome to have that kind of help and support from your salesman to the finance guy to even they got somebody who helps you set up your car, right? I got an app on my phone now that's got my auto start on it. I can locate my car if I don't know where it is. I could take a trip to Japan if I wanted to and be like, did I lock my car? And I can go into the app and lock my car. So even people helping you set up that stuff, just the hands-on approach over there is incredible. So if you need a car, head on over to George Wall. And go ask for Jerry. They were awesome there. Again, stem to stern from everybody. I can't say enough good things about it. It was an unbelievable experience.
So to Ryan's point, there isn't a better place to shop for a brand new car. Just call 732-704-1932 and ask for Jeremy Wall. George Wall Ford in Red Bank for all your car buying needs. Drop Podcast where we talk golf in the Garden State. I'm Mike Poro, and this is Ryan Coulott.
What's up, Drop Pod people? Not Mike, just Ryan here. For this introduction to our interview for this week, October 3rd, we have Max Greyserman on. And when you talk about a big fish, someone who we've been trying to have on the show, who's perfect for what we've been talking about, golfing in the Garden State, New Jersey guy. We followed him all the way through Korn Ferry Tour last year, coming up into this year, and having quite a PGA Tour season that he had, which was tremendous. We talk about some of the ups and downs. No, he didn't win an event, but got a couple second places. He finished top 50 in the FedEx Cup. So Max had a terrific year, and couldn't be happier for him. So we were able to talk with him. He was very gracious of his time, but like I said, we've been kind of trying to go back and forth with when we can get him on, and he, professional golfer, just super busy. So it was really cool to spend a lot of time with him, and we talked to him for over an hour, picked his brain. We walking through his house and went and saw his little pro shop in his garage, which was pretty cool. So really a great experience, and really something cool that we're able to share with you guys. So without further ado, here's our interview with Max Greyserman, PGA Tour professional. Enjoy.
All right, so today's guest, I think, needs no introduction. I think once we say his name, I think everybody will know who we have here. Today's guest is Max Greyserman. Max, thanks so much for coming on today's show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always like supporting New Jersey golf, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, really appreciate it. I know we've been kind of going back and forth, and we've been kind of feel like our career here has been following your career, kind of the Korn Ferry Tour last year, then going into the PGA Tour this year. So
I've been a little busy this
Yeah,
year.
you have been. So this is a good thing. So we're really excited to have you. This is really cool to have you on. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, let's before there's so many different routes we can take to get this thing started. But I think why don't you give the audience a little bit of a background about you? Like how you got to where you are because I think when people see your name now, they think about what has gone on lately. But it's not always been, you know, all these roses per se. Why don't you talk about a little bit of your background and your story?
Yeah, grew up in New Jersey most of my whole life. Spent fifth through eighth grade in Florida, but outside of that, I was New Jersey. Learned the game in New Jersey. Grew up at playing some public golf, and then grew up at Crestmont Country Club in West Orange. Is kind of where I learned the game mostly. Donald Ross course, really nice club that helped me out and supported me. And high school, I went to Petty School in New Jersey in Hightstown. So I just kept the New Jersey thing going. Played high school golf there. We had some good teams. We had some guys who went and played at Wake Forest, Iona, which is a local school in New York, and won some big tournaments. And it was just kind of a steady progression, I would say. Junior golf, played in some AJGA tournaments, did pretty well. Played at Petty, did pretty well, and then found myself at Duke in North Carolina, and we had some good teams there, and I just feel like it was a steady career progression, just junior golf, college golf. I didn't play too great in college. Maybe I was just having a little too much fun. School was pretty hard too, but came out of college and I was on the Canadian tour for a year, played there, and then fortunately got my Corn Ferry Tour card in my second attempt at Q school. Was pretty bummed after the first one. You put a lot of pressure on yourself. You have high expectations. Going pro, coming out of college, and was really really happy getting on the Corn Ferry Tour that second time. And then that was in 2000, and that was December 18th. So then my first year at Corn Ferry was 2019. Graduated college in 2017, and then kind of had an up and down first year in the Corn Ferry Tour. I finished 80th. Status was actually top 75, keeps your card. And so just kind of the same trend as honestly my whole golf career. It was like I would get to a certain level and then all of a sudden it'd just be a little bit of a decline after that. So like I thought I lost my card and went back to Q school in December of 19, didn't play well there. And then I had three of the first eight starts in 2020. This is kind of like how small the margins can be in pro golf, unless you're like a Jordan Spieth who just comes on and crushes it right away. I had three out of eight starts in the beginning of 2020, and then there's a reshuffle. So if I don't play well, I'm not going to play much the rest of the year at all. If I play well, I can reshuffle in and have the rest of the season. And so this was like kind of during COVID. I had missed the cut in the first one, missed the cut in the second one, I think, and then in the third one, I finished like 15th or 20th, maybe. I think it was in Columbia or something like that. And I knew that that was really big, and so then I had to wait until the eight events were over, and then I shuffled back in, and then I just continued to kind of play well. Finished 15th in Colorado. This was the double year, 2020-21. Ended up finishing 46th on the Corn Ferry Tour. I think if it wasn't the double year, 2021, I would have had close to a top 30 year. So, potentially could have gotten my card that year. So things were starting to progress well in my career, and then came back on the Corn Ferry Tour in 2022. But the problem is I kind of had a wrist issue in the last few years. And so I was thinking about getting surgery before the year started. I was like, let me try and push it a little longer. It's not like it's bothering me, but it's not crazy bad. And then I played five events and I played decent. And I'm just like, I can't bear this pain. So I shut it down and get wrist surgery. Now I got to wait a whole nother year. I'm on a medical. I wait all the way until 2023, thinking to myself, oh, I could have got my card in 21. Oh, I could have got my card in 22. And then now it's just like, let's go. Like, this is my time now. So played really well in 23, finished ninth, was just really strong and steady for most of the year, had 2 seconds, got my card. And for the first time in maybe my life, I felt like I was ready for the moment, to whereas before I wasn't quite confident in myself. And then come on to the PGA Tour in 2024, and again another slow start. Missed three out of my first four cuts. was not feeling very good. But I kept putting in the work is something that I've always done my whole career is put my head down, keep putting in the work, trust the process of what I was doing in practice and the results will come. And fortunately they came, in the spring and in the summer especially. I feel like for the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged on the PGA Tour.
It's crazy. That's such a journey, and like you said, it's like you get up there, and then you took 2 steps forward, three
Yeah,
steps back, and then
it's felt like that my whole golf life. I had someone ask me, and I was like, if my career feels like the stock market, it's like in the short term, it's up and down all over the place, but in the long term, it usually goes up. So that's kind of how I like to think of it. And it's been a long journey, and my parents growing up, neither of them played golf, so I don't know. It's been crazy because I don't really know if I was supposed to be here, but here I am, and I'm here to take advantage of the opportunity.
yeah, and really this year you seized it, and like you said, you
Yeah,
kind of is. It must be. I'm sure we're going to get into this season, but I'm sure that it must have been gratifying for you to play as well as you did this season, being that it was kind of 2 years in the making, really. With the you should have gotten in with the double year, and then you had the wrist injury shut you down too. So it's kind of
yeah,
getting to this point is not just some people kind of did the corn fair. It seems like yours is a little bit delayed, and that must have been really gratifying for you.
yeah. I grew up with playing the AJGA with Scotty Scheffler was I think 1 year younger than me. I played with him a bunch in high school and college, and guys like that. Seeing Cameron Young, another Met area guy, seeing guys like that have success early, and knowing that I competed with them and I competed well. Maybe I didn't win all the tournaments that they did, but I was right there with them growing up. So it was a little frustrating, but I would. It's important not to compare yourself to others
Yeah.
and say, "Oh, if I'm as good as this guy, I should be doing what this guy's doing." You're on your own journey. Everyone's on their own journey, and even though it was frustrating at times, and I didn't know if I was gonna, when I had wrist surgery, I really wasn't sure if I was gonna play. I really wasn't sure if I was gonna keep playing. I was like, I was thinking about maybe taking a job or something like that. So, I remember in 2000, I actually had someone sent me a message yesterday of a screenshot of me texting them in early 2019, like asking them what they were charging for lessons. Maybe I was gonna start giving some lessons, stuff like that, and then in 2022 went and like did some work with my brother-in-law and was thinking maybe I'd do that. And I mean, I just feel like I kept persevering even though I doubted myself. I just kept pushing, and I'm thankful to be here.
It's well, like you said, everyone's on their own journey, and that maturity. Like sometimes it takes a little bit to mature. We think like we go out of high school and we go to college and we're living on our own. And I know for me personally, like I wasn't ready to live on my own my first year of college. That's why I had three
Yeah.
freshman years of college. So you kind of like you need to grow and be mature in that way, and maybe that you had to go through the fire to get that maturity, to get that perseverance, to get that maybe even perspective.
I think that's going to pay dividends in the long run. I think it helped me this summer a little bit. And I look at guys who you got the Scotties and the Spieths and the Rickies who come out and start winning when they're 21, 22, whatever. But it doesn't quite matter when you reach the top or when you reach the peak of your career, as long as you reach it on your own terms. And there's guys who get on tour in their late. I'm trying to think of a guy who got on the tour in like late 20s instead of early 20s, and they're like develop into a Ryder Cupper or something like that. Like look at Wyndham Clark, for example. You know, he struggled. He was my roommate in 2018, I think, in Vegas when I was living there. And man, he was really, really struggling, and he just kept putting in the work and with the right people mentally and physically. And all of a sudden, he was like 170th in the world like a year and a half ago. I think it was the end of 22 or something, or 23. He was like 100 and something in the world, and now he's top five in the world.
Yeah.
So it's just I mean, golf is just a story of perseverance. It's a different game than a basketball or football where you can kind of physically dominate someone else from a younger age. Golf is different, and so I'm hoping that the next 5 to 10 years on tour will be my time.
Yeah.
Hey, golfers, we would like to introduce you to Gimme Cocktails. Meet your favorite drink on and off the golf course. Gimme Cocktails is a family owned business based right here in Monmouth County, New Jersey. They've crafted the perfect blend of premium vodka with pineapple or premium vodka with lemonade iced tea, giving you that refreshing lift you need. Gimme Cocktails is all natural with 7% alcohol and completely gluten free. The refreshing and invigorating taste elevates your spirits and your game. Imagine this: you're on the 18th hole, the sun is setting, and you haven't had the round you hope for. It's been a gimme type of a day. One sip of a gimme cocktail on the course, and suddenly you're not thinking about that double bogey anymore because we all know every golfer's been through it. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a weekend warrior, Gimme Cocktails is the perfect companion for any golfer. Swing, sip, and savor every moment because everyone could use a gimme sometimes. And the best part, you can pick up Gimme Cocktails at Total Wine and various country clubs right here in New Jersey. Want to learn more? Follow them on Instagram at gimme_cocktails or visit their website at gimmecocktails.com. Look for a gimme near you. Gimme Cocktails. Fairways to Fridays, a gimme's the way. I am probably the golf nerd here that like lives and breathes the refresh button when you guys are always playing because I don't know if there's a bigger fan at times than me to see where you guys finish and how you played. And to your point, like I definitely thought the US Open was kind of like the turning point in your season.
Yeah,
Obviously for someone like me who constantly is looking at it like where are you at? Like how's he doing? And because leading up to it, I'll be honest, I didn't think you were playing particularly well. You were missing some cuts, but then I felt like the US Open, did something click there in terms of like you saying to yourself, like, hey, listen, I think I can do this. I know I can. It's a matter of like going out and doing it because after the US Open, you straight up golfed your golf ball all the way coming in. Was there
yeah.
something there that clicked?
There was a couple things that there was maybe one little swing change that I was working on with my coach. It was an equipment change with my 3 wood and my driver. Statistically, the driving was a huge improvement starting at the U.S. Open and onwards. So it was a combination of equipment with my coach and just continuing to develop the confidence. Early in the year was a little bit of a struggle, and then in the late winter, early spring, I had a nice little run there. I would say, mid-February to through April. I had a really strong run there. Finished seventh in Houston, finished fourth in Louisiana in the team event where I thought I played really well. And so like I wasn't having a good year by any means at all, but I think going into the US Open I was probably like 100 in the FedEx Cup. So for a rookie year, it's like, all right, like I'll take that. That's not nothing I'm proud of, but I'm happy to take that and keep. If you would have told me before the start of the year, I would have finished 100th in the FedEx Cup. I probably would have taken it. Would I have been feeling great about it? No, but I probably would have taken it because it's your first year, and the first year you're trying to feel it out a little bit, and I would have gone on to the second year and tried to done better.
Use it as a stepping
But
stone.
yeah, use it as a stepping stone, exactly, because being a rookie is tough. You look at guys where they are as rookies. I was the only Corn Ferry rookie of the 30 guys to make it to BMW. So it's just tough as a rookie. And then I think once you start developing that confidence, you work on the right things. For me, especially, kind of having lacked confidence historically, I mean, I just felt like I was off to the races, just continuing to put myself, once I kept putting myself in those pressure moments with a lot of people, like US Open, there's just so many people at the US Open, it's unbelievable. Like it makes some PGA Tour events look like a third-rate Corn Ferry event.
It's
And
crazy.
so just getting that experience under the gun, I think will pay dividends. And I finally put the pieces together. It was like I was talking to my coach, it's like one week I would putt it well and then I would drive it really bad, or one week I would drive it really well and I would putt it really bad or approach and all that stuff. And it was just like you just gotta wait until all the parts of the game come together, and I think later in the summer they did.
Yeah, there was no doubt. I felt like it did because I'd like to start at the 3M before we get into the Matt Kuchar incident that Ryan and I talked at length about after that tournament. But I think at the 3M, that shot you hit on 18, like I mean, that's a shot that I think some of us like jokingly would do with our buddies. Like, hey, my score doesn't count. If I make double or triple, like, who cares? But like someone like you that is like right there on the cusp of potentially winning the tournament, and then you got still have the FedEx Cup playoffs in play for you. What did you think going into a shot like that in the final round on the 18th hole at the 3M?
That's going back to kind of the rookie, it being tough as a rookie. If you had put that 3-up tournament in that position I was in, and you had put me there at the start of the year, I probably wouldn't have hit that shot. You put me in it at the end of the year where I'm like, okay, I mean, I'm not thinking like, oh, I'm 82 in the FedEx Cup, but I'm thinking like I'm in a decent spot in the FedEx Cup, so I have the ability to take a little more risk here. So that was helpful. And then knowing that, me and my caddy looked at each other, and he just like, F it, let's go for it. And I'm like, you don't have to tell me twice. You, usually the caddy is telling you to do the opposite. He's trying to, because the player thinks he can pull off any shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we were just like, we got to go for it. We got a chance to win here if we go for it. And so it's not like the layup wasn't. It's also the layup wasn't easy. So that also helped the decision. If the layup was super cake and I could have gotten a wedge in there, okay, maybe we do something different. But we didn't have many options, so I was actually on a cart path and I took a drop, but I only took a drop like 3 paces away from the ball was where the ball was, so didn't really change anything. And then I drop it and it's like trampled down, so it's a decent lie, but the ball's above my feet, and when the ball's above your feet, it usually launches higher. Well, that's a problem. I got trees in my way and I got to keep it low. Fortunately, it was downwind, 246 front. It's pretty hot, 90 degrees. So my 4 iron is a little strong. It goes 227 at sea level. Minnesota's a little bit of elevation. It's hot. Okay, we're talking maybe low 230s. Adrenaline's pumping, maybe like 235. It's 246 carry. So it's downwind. So uh, at this point, we're literally just like, I'm just gonna hit a low draw into this tree, and that's it. Whatever we get, right? So stepped up in there, hit absolutely pured it, hit it exactly like I wanted to. I had to start it right of the green over the water and draw it back over into the green. And I knew that as long as I could keep it under the tree and carry it 246, I could draw it as much as I could because that's where the fat part of the green was. And so I hit it and I couldn't see anything because the tree's in the way. And then fortunately I had a 4 iron, right? If I had like a 7 iron, it'd be tough to keep it low. Hit it perfect, and it drew to the middle of the green, and I had 70-ish feet. But it only carried by 5 yards, right? So it took on a lot of risk. I wouldn't do that. Would never even think about doing it if it was a 36 hole of the tournament. But we play to win, right? We play to win, and all that it comes with that, to your exemption, sponsors, masters, majors. That's the goal, trophies. So at a certain point, you just got to say F it and go for it.
It sounded like he just described the video game. He sounded like he described the video. I got to keep it low under the trees. It's got to carry 246. That was like a video game. That was like Tiger Woods. We're playing it where you could toggle the thing and move it any which direction.
Yeah.
Insane.
I'll tell you,
Yeah,
all the
I don't
stuff
know.
that you had to go through to think like, okay, it's trampled down, ball's above my feet, so it's gonna carry, it's gonna come in hot, it launches a little higher, it's a little bit dewy because it's at 3 p.m. It's the nighttime
Yeah,
start. It was
there's
just
quite a few
all of
thoughts.
those
Like,
thoughts.
looking back at it, I'm like, man, that was crazy. Why did I do that? Fortunately, it worked. But like in the moment, it just felt
Felt
natural.
right.
You're just in the heat of the moment. So I'm going through those thoughts in my head, but I'm going through those thoughts quickly. So it's not really consuming any mental capacity because I do it all the time. But yeah, it was looking back at it. It looks crazy. I'm sure I'm going to be there next year, and I'll go to that spot and be like, how the hell did I do that?
No doubt. I would have said it that night, probably laying in bed saying, I can't believe I just pulled that shot off,
Yeah,
But
yeah. And
yeah. And listen, and to your credit, like Johnny Vegas still had to make a 4-footer to win the damn thing. And I can't lie, there wasn't someone probably rooting harder for him to
yeah,
miss it than me, but
I mean, credit to him. 18 was a really tough driving hole that day. It was blowing solid 15 off the left. There's water right. It's not a wide fairway. There's nowhere to miss left. Like, it's a tough tee shot, and I didn't pull that tee shot off. Fortunately, still made birdie. But I was watching him, and I'm like, man, anything can happen if he doesn't hit this fairway, and he's probably only 50% hit this fairway. But if he does, it's a huge advantage to be in that fairway. And once he did, I was like, man, this is probably over. But you never know.
You scared him.
But credit to him, he clutched. Yeah, I did. Scared him. Winning takes luck, right? It's not just you versus another team in basketball or something. There's 155 other guys, and to win a golf tournament, you need to either play beyond exceptionally well to run away with it, or you need guys at the top near you not to kind of hunt you down. It takes a combination to win.
Yeah, no,
That's why it's hard to win.
It is. It certainly is. And
I think before I even get into the next one, right? You're waiting for Johnny Vegas to finish up.
Yeah.
Tell me about like what you're doing, because I think a crazy lunatic like me is probably going out to the range, pound balls, beat balls, but like that's not what you did.
No, I got bored, so I started playing ping pong. My caddy was taking a nap on the bench in the locker room. We were hanging out, just watching TV. A couple guys were there, and then all of a sudden, I just turned to Nia, I'm like, this is kind of boring. You want to play ping pong? So we just started playing ping pong. It was warm outside. How long do I need to take to warm up? Not very long, 10 minutes. I don't like the idea of sitting on the range thinking about it, and so you're just taking your time off of it. You're hanging out just like you would if there wasn't a playoff looming. So I think that's really important on tours to be prepared, and then when the moment comes, make sure that you're calm and collected. So I was just trying to chill out and play some ping pong and win in ping pong. If I wasn't going to win the golf tournament, I might as well win in ping pong.
I loved how Mark Immelman even asked you afterwards, did you beat him? Like I love that. I thought that was
Yeah, I put him
classic.
on blast. I
Yeah.
texted Neil after and said I'm sorry.
I saw that. I was dying laughing. I love that.
but when we had Reed on, he said you're a pretty good ping pong player.
Yeah, pretty solid. I mean, I'm not going to compete with the top guys on tour like Denny or Kuchar, for example, is very good. So I can hold my own. You know, I take advantage of people who aren't as good as me. But if I get someone get better than me, I don't have a chance.
Tired of your sock drawer looking like a 50s television show? Then it's time to try socks by Leverett US. With their vast array of color options and superior design, it's the only sock that you will ever need. Whether you play golf, tennis, pickleball, or are just on your feet all day, Leverett socks will enhance every step you take. Made from 97% nylon and 3% spandex, Leverett socks offers advanced moisture wicking technology, odor resistant fabric, durable and elastic construction, exfoliation components, and a blister proof design. The performance of the socks are unparalleled in the market today, and they by far have the most color options in the business. Whether it is a holiday, seasonal, or event based, Leverett US is consistently expanding their color options and designs. For those golf professionals, business owners, and merchandisers out there, Leverett US also offers a custom sock option. Fully customize your sock from heel to toe. With your logo on the sock and on the packaging, they are a perfect way to promote your business or make a nice margin in your shop or retail store. Throw a little text on the back heel and really take your custom sock to the next level. Leverett US is the only sock company you will need to address the one missing fashion piece in a person's wardrobe. For more information on Leverett socks, go to www.leverett.us or check them out on Instagram at LeverettUS. And don't forget, your outfit's not complete without Leverett on your feet. And then after the 3M, you go to the Wyndham. And I don't think there's a better word for me to describe that than a roller coaster. I can only imagine being in your shoes. I'm on vacation in Cape Cod, and I'm literally watching this thing, and I'm texting Ryan like, Max just made eagle. He holed out. Wait, Max just made a 7. Like I was like losing my mind. I'm high, I'm low, I'm high, I'm low. Let's talk about the Wyndham, because also that's the last tournament before the FedEx Cup, and positioning ultimately matters. Trying to figure out where you end up, because like you mentioned earlier, there are some perks to finishing in certain spots.
Yeah.
Let's just dive directly to the fourth round here. What type of mental fortitude did it take after you hole out for eagle, leading up to that next tee box? What was the thought process like going there?
Uh, Man, I was feeling good. I got a four. I kind of knew where I'm at in the board. See, some guys say, "Oh, don't look at the board. Look at the board." Blah blah blah. I mean, I look at the best players in the world. They're near the top a lot, Scotty, Xander, etc. And I think the pressure of the moment and just being comfortable there helps. So I'm trying to look at the board a little bit and know where I am to honestly just put more pressure on myself just to get the experience. And so I knew that I had a substantial lead after that hole out eagle. There was a scoreboard right there on the green. So I was feeling good. Obviously taking a few deep breaths to kind of to calm the heart rate because the excitement of the eagle and stuff like that. So doing a little bit of breath work on the next tee, feeling good. We had to wait for the group in front of us to clear a little bit, so we're waiting another minute or two, but nothing out of the ordinary. Stepped up there, felt pretty solid. Hit a push. Didn't hit a good drive. Did I hit an awful drive? No. Uh, was probably only 20 yards right of the right edge of the fairway, 15 yards right of the right edge of the fairway, I would say. Landing on the cart path. Nothing I could do there. What I could have done better is hit a better tee shot. But did it deserve to go OB? No, it didn't deserve to go OB. If it didn't go OB, I'd be sitting there and trample down rough, and I'd be able to either hit it on the green or hit it short of that bunker, and make a 3, 4, 5. Absolute worst to somehow make a 6, but probably make a 4 or 5 and hit the cart path. Now it's like, okay, I guess it might have went OB. I'll hit a provisional, hit another one, barely in the left rough, and now this is where I wish I could have taken it back a little bit. There's a cross bunker there in the fairway. Should have laid up. I was trying to lay up short of it, but you get such a bad lie, you don't know how it's coming out, and I got a little aggressive. Hit it in the cross bunker, end up making 8. Even with it going OB, if I laid up properly there, I would have made a 6 or a 7. So that's something I can learn and look back on. Do I regret hitting a bad shot? No, that happens. That's going to happen. Unfortunately, it happened right there and it hit the cart path. That's something I can't change. But what I can look back at and change is maybe take a little bit more time on that layup, on that fourth shot. So that's what I take out of that moment. And then what I also take is how I stepped up there in the next hole and just hit mini driver 4-iron just perfectly right in the middle of the green and 2-putted for birdie. I mean, that's going to take I'm going to take a lot from that as well to come back in that moment.
Yeah, I thought that bounce back birdie was huge.
Mhm.
I did, because I think, to Ryan's point earlier, it's that maturity where most guys would say, "All right, I just made an 8. This sucks. I'm throwing the towel in, and I'll finish top 5." Like, you didn't do that, and I thought that birdie was huge. And then when you got on 16's tee, what was like? You're right back in it. I believe at that point you're back to being tied with Aaron Ray at that point.
hmm
What was the thought process getting on 16's tee box?
I knew I just made that great birdie right there. I'm right back in the tournament. Uh, I was kind of trying to figure out how, because it's a back pin. You don't really want to go long in that hole, but also short kind of runs below the ridge. And so I was thinking back on like a previous hole, how far did my 9-iron go? Thinking of this one. And I think just because it was getting late in the day, the temp starts to cool down a little bit. And so I don't think the ball went as far as I thought it was going to go. I think I was probably a few yards short of the top of the ridge. Hit a pretty good shot, and it kind of hit the ridge and trickled back. There's probably plenty of people who did that too, so nothing to be upset about there. And then hit that putt. Hit it a little hard, but it was probably 3 feet past the hole. And then now we're getting late in the day on fast Bermuda, very slopey, a lot of break, and then hit a pretty good putt and just didn't break and catches high side lip and goes 3, 4 feet down into the left. Like, all right, now things are getting interesting, and market resettle and miss that putt, and it's getting late in the day. Did I hit a bad putt? I don't think I hit a bad putt. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But I putted great all week. I really did. I putted really, really well all week. And if you look at the stat sheet the cumulative stats, I think I was number one in putting. So again, did I miss those putts at the wrong time? But at the end of the week, can I look back and blame myself there? Probably not, because I was the best putter of the week. So maybe I should have picked it up somewhere else. Um, Aaron, and credit to Aaron, he shot bogey free, 6 under. He birdied that last hole. I was still in, after all that, I was still in it on 18.
I know,
After
dude.
all that, after all that, I was still in the fairway on 18. I look back at that 8 that I made, and then I look at the next one I made birdie. Then I hit a pretty solid 9-iron there. Then 17, I put it in the fairway. Then 18, I put it in the fairway. I'm coming back and doing the right things and not being fazed by the moment. And Aaron made that birdie on 18. Once he made birdie, I knew it was probably over. So, credit to him. He came up. He came up when he needed it. And at that event, I didn't, but hopefully I will the next time.
Max, I took all the same stuff away. Like going back to the drive that went out. Like if that's a yard to the left, it just kind of settles into the rough there, and it's trampled down, and you're fine.
I mean, it took a huge. It
They
obviously
showed
took a massive bounce.
It looked like it hit a trampoline and exploded.
And then even then, it was only like I don't think they had a camera over there. It was only like a foot or two OB, maybe a yard. It was still barely OB.
So that's the one thing from the angles. It hits the cart path, and you don't see exactly how far out of bounds it goes, but it did skyrocket up. And I thought that, again, Mike said the roller coaster. I thought the fortitude to come back and make a birdie showed that maturity that we've talked about now a few times. And it was like watching you grow as a golfer in live time. That you can still make the mistake. You can still learn from mistake. Like you said, you leg up into that bunker, maybe got too aggressive, and from there, then you grow, come back, you make the birdie, and then you putted well all week, not the right time to it was a slippery putt, and just that I think I don't know if it sums up your season is the right way to put it, but I felt like watching that tournament, I watched you grow as a golfer from really a rookie, maybe not to a veteran, but I feel like you learned 100 lessons in 4 holes there.
Yeah. I think it paid. It's going to pay dividends in the long run, even the week after that too. It's funny because on the pin sheet on that 16 on the par 3, they actually revised the pin that morning, so it was supposed to be in the bowl, and they revised it and put it in the back.
Oh my God!
One thing I'm going to email Wyndham and say, one, I'm going to move that car path on the right, 14, and then 2, we need to put the pin back in the bowl like they normally do on Sundays.
I think we'd be remiss if I didn't ask this as well. The Kuchar incident obviously made headwaves in terms of like what transpired there on 18. Was there any communication between you two about like why he was picking up the ball, knowing that like Brian and I talked about this at length. Like, well, maybe Max said something we don't know. We're not there. Like, if I'm Kuchar, I'm asking you before I mark my ball. No.
And how dark is it? Like, tell us. Give us the whole thing.
Yeah. 18 was pretty. 18 was pretty dark. So after we hit the tee shot on 18, the rules official came up to us and said, "We're not going to blow the horn because there's only 2 groups on the course. Everyone's aware of the situation. So I'm basically blowing the effective horn right now. You have the right to stop if you want to." That was right after we all hit the ball on 18. Kuchar had birdied 17, made a great birdie. We walked to 18. We did not know that there was anyone in the fairway. I know that there's some people were saying, "Oh, he hit into the group in front of us." We didn't know there was anyone on 18. He did kind of quick hit it because if we want the opportunity to finish, we got to tee off and make sure they don't blow the horn. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming that was his idea, was to hit quick because he had the right of way, so he was going to hit quickly off 18. And so we walked off the tee, and they said they were going to blow the horn, and then there was not really any discussion there, and kept walking down the fairway, and Kuchar's ball had hit the left trees and then kicked a little more left, so he was like very much in the middle of the trees. I was in the fairway, and then our playing partner, Chad Rainey, was also in the fairway. And then we get down there, and we're waiting for Aaron. Aaron makes birdie. They finish. And I mean, I was two back at that point. So, if he had made par, maybe I would have thought about coming back the next day. But at the same time, I mean, there's a tournament the next week. I mean, I want to get out of there. There's a lot on the line, but in the heat of the moment, you're not really thinking. You're thinking about finishing. You're always trying to finish, unless there's really an issue. And so, but once he made that birdie, then I was settled on finishing. Maybe like the smart decision is to come back the next day because there's a lot of points and money on the line. But I'm like, screw it, I'm finishing. And so I hit and Chad hits, and then all of a sudden, like we're walking up, and Kuchar's also walking up, and he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna mark it, and I'm like, all right. Didn't think about it at all. Just kept walking up there. Hit a great bunker shot, tapped in for par, and that was that. There was no communication about, oh, should I stop? Should he stop? Like every player has the right to do whatever they want. So he wanted to mark his ball. Now I don't really know why. Maybe he's like, oh, he got TIO relief in the morning, so that means there's a scoreboard in his way. So he has the right to drop in a different area. So give him the benefit of the doubt. I said to someone else, maybe that TIO relief is going to take a lot of time, and it was getting pretty dark. So maybe he's like, I'm in 12th place. I want to hold on to my position. Like this is important for me in the moment. I mean, I don't know. If I was that many years on tour, I just want to get out of there, go home, go to the next event or whatever. He wants to finish. He's got money and points on the line. I respect that. So I don't disagree with him not finishing at all. He has the right to finish just like I had the right to finish or not finish. What was peculiar was how he went in the post media press conference or whatever the next day and said like, oh, he was trying to do something in service of me or something like that. I thought that was weird. I have no problem with him marking the ball and not finishing because he has the right to do it. But for him to say like, oh, I was trying to do something in favor of Max and stuff like that to kind of flip the script and him not talk to me about it, I just thought that was weird. It's not something I would do.
I think that's a little his MO.
He was a nice guy. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I just feel like that he didn't really need to say or do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, we had a good round and stuff like that. We were friendly.
Which leads into the FedEx Cup, right? Now you're in. You're inside. And I think after the opening round
Mike, can I cut you off? Because Max, you said something there that I want to come back to, and maybe I can come back to this, but I feel like we're kind of talking about it. You mentioned a few times, Max, about like you wanted to get out of there because you got to get to tournament the next week and whatever. What's your like travel schedule like as a rookie on tour this year? Like, you see guys like Justin's got like net jets, so him and Jordan and the guys can jump in their private jet and
I'm in a different league.
Yeah, exactly. So like, what is it like for someone as a rookie that's learning how to play golf as a professional anyway, but is now learning how to doing all this kind of stuff? And like, what's your?
I like the business side of it. At my agency, I have a travel agent that I work with. I do most of my stuff. She comes in on a few things, maybe a hotel here or there. But in terms of flights, I book all my own flights, and I book like 3 flights a week with the credit. Like nowadays, you get credit when you cancel on any airline, pretty much. So I'll just book like multiple flights on like a Sunday night, a Monday morning, and I'll just have a Rolodex of 1,000 or 2,000 in credit because I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
And I just keep kind of spinning the wheel a little bit. So I have multiple flights booked because I don't want to have to book anything last minute and there not be a seat. So I just book a couple flights each week. And then like that Wyndham, for example, I think I had a flight to Memphis. I think I had a flight to Memphis. I don't even know. I think it was Memphis to BMW. I didn't have a flight. That's where I canceled. Yeah. I had a flight, but I was missing the flight. I had a flight Sunday night from Wyndham to Memphis, but I missed it. So I'm going to need to book a new one. And, if I book a flight on a Sunday night and I miss it because I'm playing late, that's okay with me.
Yeah.
And, my buddy Denny was there Sunday night too. And he was flying Monday. So I just hitched a ride with him on his deal or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's been commercial for 95% of my flights, and then it's like if you somehow wiggle your way in on something and something matches up, some of these guys get pretty good deals. So if you can split it amongst a bunch of players, it's not going to break the bank. But I'm gonna prefer to fly commercial. I do that most of the time, unless I can kind of sneak my way in,
Okay.
which I like to do a few times.
We can let's put hey NetJets. Max Greyserman's looking for a deal, so
Yeah, yeah,
let's get this guy flying, where he needs to fly to.
No doubt. And that, I mean, so you get into the FedEx Cup, right? And I think the opening tournament, now you're kind of playing on a week to week basis. It's like, can you get into the next one? And I think after the opening round 75, I'll be dead honest. I kind of said, okay, he's not, it's done. All right, we have no more shots of like talking about PGA Tour for the FedEx Cup.
That's what I said to my wife too after that round. Anyway, so
Yeah, but then
and
the
I said
final round,
season's
listen,
over.
yeah, dude, the final round comes in Memphis, and I can't lie. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that'll like text me like, Max is making a run. Like, Max is making a run. You better look, turn it. Before you know it, it's birdie, birdie, birdie. And now I'm like, oh shit, he has a chance now to go low and to get into next week. Was that last round similar to what you were talking about earlier to 3M? It's like, listen, I got to make birdies coming in. I'm trying to make next week. I got to be aggressive. Is that kind of the mindset going into that final round?
Yeah, going back to earlier in the week after shooting that first round, I was like, well, season's over probably. There's always a chance. I'm never gonna say I'm never gonna give up, and I'm never gonna have no chance. I'm always gonna have a chance, but at the same time, I'm a little bit of a realist, and I know probabilities and stuff like that. Wasn't looking very good. And I shot five over first round in Memphis, I think, and yeah, five over, and I was like, I need to get to going into the week. I knew I had to finish top half of the pack, something like that, and depending on other people. And first round five over, I'm like, I'm toast. I got to get back to like three. I got to get back to red figures at least. So I try to just hone in a little bit. I never try to play a little more aggressive or a little more conservative too much. So I try to play the same game plan, and I'm just like, I just need to stay really patient and just let the birdies come when they come. I don't want to put my foot on the gas too much. Shot two under the second round, missed a bunch of putts. I'm like, all right, I'm playing good. I have an opportunity. Third round, let's see what happens. I didn't never get anything going. I shoot even. So I'm back to the same emotional, like, oh, the season's over. Probably not going to do it. I need like, tell my wife I need like 7, 8 under tomorrow. And she's like, oh, you can do it. You can do it. And I'm like, yeah, yeah. and
Yeah, and monkeys
and
might come out of my ass. Yeah.
yeah, I wake up and same thing I always do. And golf is weird. Sometimes like you just make four birdies in a row. You're not necessarily playing better. It just happens, especially as a pro golfer. So you just got to let those sort of things happen and not shoot yourself in the foot. That's basically professional golf. You make a bunch of pars, make some birdies, and then just when you get hot, you just ride the wave. And so in the final round, um, made a lot of birdies. And what I did do a little differently is like I putted a little more aggressively in terms of speed, which I don't normally do because I'm like, if things don't go well today, that's totally fine. I've had such a good year. I'm very pleased with it. Um, I made the playoffs, and all of a sudden, I just go bang, 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 and I keep making birdies, and then I make the turn, and I'm like, oh, I actually have a chance here, and then I just make a few more. The nerves are coming. I'm like, this is like, I feel like I'm in the hunt to win right now. I'm like 15 shots off the lead, but I feel like I'm in second place. And because I knew kind of like how many under I need to go as low as possible. Every shot counts. And I get down the stretch and I make a birdie on 415, and then you got a really tough finish. I mean, 17 and 18 are the two hardest holes in the course. I come up clutch there on 18. I got 13 feet for par. 18 is just a hard hole. It's not unreasonable to have 13 feet for par, and get this little slider left to right. Or I'm thinking I gotta make this. Like this is the putt to win the tournament, even though I'm nowhere near the lead. And right in the center, I'm pumped up. Let's go. And then I get over there afterwards. They've got this stats guy saying like, "Oh, you're in 51st place, but I like where you're at because these guys are here and these guys are here." It's like a whole math equation. And then I look up Data Golf, the Data Golf website. I don't know if you've heard of that, but really good website to have probabilities and stuff. And then it said I was like 70% or something right as I walked out of scoring. And then my caddy refreshed the page and he's like, oh, it's 81% to get the next week. And I'm like, great. I like being greater than 50. Sounds good to me. So we went inside and we're sitting next to the TV, and all of a sudden, I've never been in a position and I don't never like rooting against someone. Like if like Aaron Rai, for example, he played better than me. He deserved to win. I'm good for him. So it was really weird to be in the position sitting and watching. You don't want to be the person it's not in your hands, right? Now it's in someone else's hands. I did all I could, but for me to get to next week, there's going to have to be people that kind of crumble a little bit on that 18th hole. And I sat there and I watched a few balls go in the water, and I watched a few meltdowns, and it was bittersweet, right? Because you don't want to root against anyone, but at that point, I was just like, man, I'm just so thankful to be going to next week again. It's just been such a roller coaster. Those 3 weeks of 3M, Wyndham, and Memphis were just the biggest roller coasters I've ever been on golf wise. And even before 3M too, I had some good weeks there as well. It was just a crazy summer, and I think I was just exhausted by the end of it. In Colorado, I haven't played 8 or 9 weeks, but I just think it's just I feel like I have the ability to just people are like people are making this seem so crazy and stuff like that, and at the end of the day, I just feel like I have this ability to just break it down, and it's just golf. Whether it's second place or first place in the 100 at PGA Tour event, or I'm playing for 45th or 46th place. It's just golf. So that's the way I like to look at it. And then when I look back at it, it's like, man, that was so crazy. And it's just like, oh well, on to the next week. I almost won 3M. It's like, gotta hop on the plane on to the next week. Almost won Wyndham. That's in the past. Gotta hop on the plane the next week. That's just what pro golf is. It's crazy when you think about it.
It's crazy. I mean, listen, I think you had an unbelievable season. There's no two ways around it. I thought from beginning to end, the way it ended was just like a kind of like icing on the cake, in a sense of like you finished top 50, you're in all the signature events moving forward. Will you play this fall, or will you shut it down until Hawaii in January?
Yeah, I've thought about that, and I continue to think about that. I'm not sure. It's the first time in my life that I haven't had to play a golf tournament. Junior golf, it was always a race to get to. I'm trying to get into the best schools I can get into to compete for national championship, ACC, whatever. So it was always a race to play AJGA tournaments and this and that. And then you get to college and you're playing five in the fall. You're playing seven in the spring, 12 plus summer events you get invited to. You're up to like 20. You're always playing more. Same in Canada. Corn Ferry, you're playing. You want to be as high in the points list as possible. So if I'm not number one on the points list, I'm just going to keep playing, and I would routinely play. I did this 8 or 9 week stretch on the PGA Tour, and I'm like, I've done that before, so it wasn't unusual. And now, for the first time in my life, it's like, oh, I don't have to play a tournament. I don't know what that feels like. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable sitting at home and like not playing in a tournament. But at the same time, after that end of the season, rest is good physically, mentally. I've played a little bit since BMW, but not much at all. So I'm about to basically, once this week is over, I'm going into full gear, and the prep work is starting for the next event I play in, whether that's Sanderson. I've signed up for everyone, but I think I'm going to take Bermuda off. I'm going to take RSM off. I took Napa off. I'm definitely playing Vegas, Japan, Cabo probably. I want to go. I just want to go eat sushi in Japan, so that's honestly the only reason I'm going.
It's a good
I
reason.
love
It's a
that.
good
Yeah,
Yeah.
reason. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I like playing. I like competing, but I also just like playing at home, playing against members and stuff like that. So I don't really know my schedule. I just know I'm going to play Japan or Vegas, Japan, Cabo, and then Mississippi and Bermuda is up in the air. I wish I had a little bit more of an extended break because I like practicing, getting the reward of the process, and feeling committed and comfortable with what I'm doing in practice. So when I feel I'm going to feel comfortable and ready at a certain point, and when I feel ready to compete, that's when I'm going to go back out. And then it's all about making sure I'm ready for Hawaii Century in January. That's priority number one. So, and then obviously there's a second priority that's kind of been lingering in my mind a little bit is top 50 for Augusta. So that's certainly in the back of my mind too. So that's
doubt.
that's what I have to look into as well because I might need to get some points before December. But I think they have another cutoff in March or something. So it'll be all right either way.
Nice.
You'll get it done.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah.
Max,
So-
before we go, I got two questions I want to ask you. Obviously, you play so much golf, and there's so much that goes into all you do. As you said, you went on this like diatribe of like the wind and the dew and the angles and all that kind of stuff. So there's so much that you're thinking about in golf. But is there anything that you think of that you just do, I should say, naturally? And some people might call them superstitions, some people call them habits, or whatever you want to call them. But is there anything you think that would be like kind of weird that you do in getting ready for a tournament? You know, some people we've had, and I've asked some people, they don't like tying their shoes until they get to the tee box, or they have a certain amount of tees in a pocket and a ball marker in another, or is there anything that you do that like could be labeled as kind of quirky on the golf course there before a tournament?
I'm not very superstitious. Like people have warm up routines and it's like, oh, 7 irons, then 5 irons, stuff like that. And I'm just like, some days I chip before I hit, some days I hit before I chip, some days I putt first, some days I putt last. I think it's just kind of the vibe of trying to feel free and free flowing and all that stuff. Uh, I usually have a lot of tees in my right pocket. I don't like running out of tees. I put my tees in my right pocket, my ball marker, my big and large ball marker because I have like more of a not poker chip size, but a bigger ball marker, and then I have a really small ball marker as well in case I'm in someone's way, so I put a small one there. I usually use the same. I have a nice ball marker that I like to use until I lose it. That's the problem. So I'm superstitious with one ball marker and then I lose it. And I'm like, so that's the problem. So I'm not really superstitious. I have the only thing I always do every week is when I get to the putting green at the start of the week, I always do my speed drill. And so I see a lot of guys who putt, especially on tour, who putt, they do start line drills. So they're like, okay, they're making sure from 4 or 5 feet they start a line. So they got these little gates and their mirror and stuff, and they're doing all this stuff. And I'm like, man, I talk with this to my coach. Like, I think starting on a line is the least important skill in putting. I think green rating and speed is the most important. So for the last like 5 years, I've been doing this one speed drill. I use it I don't even hit it to a hole. I hit it to a ghost hole. It's like a rubber cup that's that thin so you can see how far the ball rolls over it. I do it every Tuesday, every week. And then when I'm home, I do it like 3, 4 times a week. And so I would say, I guess that's my superstition. And I think it's helped me a lot in putting. So I don't want to go too deep in the details on that drill because I don't want to give up my secret.
Yeah, no, if you're number one in putting, you're doing something right. So,
Yeah.
And then obviously we're a New Jersey podcast, so we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you the biggest debate going on in New Jersey is the name of a particular kind of breakfast meat. What are you calling that breakfast meat?
Is it like a pork roll or something?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. There you go, Max.
Good answer. Don't even say anything else. Don't even say anything else.
I have a head cover that I got at Batidingock last year during the Corn Ferry event. It's like it was from the New Jersey Golf Foundation. It's like here, let me see if I got it in my garage. Give me a second. It might be my clubs are still in my bag.
In the
This is
travel
my pro
bag?
shop, by the way. This is all my clubs right here.
Oh my gosh.
God.
I got my soft goods, all my balls over here and grips. It's the pro shop. Y'all are welcome anytime.
You do all that stuff yourself? You regrip your clubs and you.
Oh no. The guys on tour are super helpful. They do that. This is just all my extra stuff.
Oh.
Let me see if it's.
You need a new wedge? You need a new wedge? I got
here we go.
75 of them.
Yeah, exactly. Here, I got it. Hold up, it's coming out of the bag. Right here.
Yeah.
Dude, okay.
I knew that was the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've seen that before. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice head cover. It's a nice piece. I can't really use it because I need Cali ones, but I can use it when I'm home.
There you go.
Yeah.
But I'm
So-
glad you said pork roll.
Yeah. Really glad.
Is that what you guys say?
Yeah, we're
what we
pork roll
call it.
guys. Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of where Petty is. I would think that you're a pork roll guy and not a Taylor ham guy, but
Yeah. Petty Central. So I grew up in North Jersey and then Petty Central Jersey. So I've seen all of Jersey.
yeah.
There you go. See how he said 3 jerseys too, right?
He
said
did.
Central.
He did.
I know.
Max, you're hitting all the points
Yeah.
here. This
Yeah,
is
you-
good.
There's New York, there's Metropolitan Jersey, New York Jersey, and then there's Central Jersey, and then there's like I guess Southern Jersey too.
Yeah.
But it's really just two. It's really two jerseys. It's like New York Jersey and then the rest of Jersey.
But listen, I can't thank you enough. I know we played DM tag nonstop on Instagram for a while, and finally being able to connect with you and get you on after an unbelievable season. You
Yeah.
know, we really do appreciate it. And listen, best of luck when you do decide to tee it up this season, and obviously all of next season. I can't wait to watch you in Augusta. I can't.
Yeah, me too.
It'll
That'd
happen.
be
It'll happen.
dream come true.
It
Yeah.
absolutely
Good things
Just gotta
happen when you think good things, man.
see it, feel it, believe it, and do it.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
absolutely. Thank you, Max. Good luck the rest of the way.
All right, guys. Thank you for having me on.
We'll talk to you
Cheers.
soon.